Our body is constantly speaking to us. Shh. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Does your body hurt? Does your body have a fever? Does your body ache throughout the day? Does it have diabetes? Does it have cancer? Shh. Listen. Listen to what your body is saying. And today we have the body whisperer in the classroom, Dr. Jennifer Gramith, naturopathic doctor from Woodstock, Georgia, who comes to the classroom every day or every month to share her wisdom with us because it's time to listen. And she's here to share what life can be like when we look beyond the symptom and we look at the total body.
And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
Hi, my name is Lily McDermott, and I am a certified life coach and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show. If this is your first time in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. As you know, Dr. Jennifer Gramith has been a teacher in the classroom now for, 3 years maybe? I have lost count, but most importantly, she's become a friend that I trust, that I go to when I need a body whisperer. I'm going to coin her the body whisperer. She's probably rolling her eyes right now, but she's also going to be in the summit. She's climbing the summit with all of us on April 6th, 2024. And let me tell you, I am really excited that we're going to be listening to her once again because she is going to be talking to us about the cracking the code of fasting glucose and long-term disease, long-term care, or long-term, whatever it is that you're considering. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Jennifer Gramith is here to do just that. Welcome to the classroom, Dr. Gramith, Dr. Jen.
Dr. Jen, that's correct. Thank you. It's just a pleasure as always to be here with you, Lillian, and I'm so excited about the summit coming up and spending some time with you and the audience. And yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to learn a lot, and that will really, hopefully, we'll take it back and we'll apply it, because you can learn all this stuff, but if you don't apply it to your life, it does you no good. So yeah, I'm excited.
So that people can get excited about the summit, because I know that there are people coming from all over to this event. What should they expect on April 6th, 2024? Because we're going to open the gates. We're going to open the registration table at 7:30, and we're going to go till 6 o'clock, and we're going to be listening to a lot of great teachers. So what would they expect, not only for your talk, but at your booth?
So, yeah, we have a lot of great things going on. So, at the talk, I really want to teach them how to monitor their health and some simple, inexpensive ways to do that that will really transform their life and prevent not just one, chronic disease, but multiple chronic diseases, metabolic diseases, autoimmune diseases. So, it'll be great information there. In the booth, we're going to be doing demos of assisted lymphatic therapy. I'm going to have the XP3, which is a new product of mine, wellness table that charges your cells for greater vitality. It helps reduce pain, inflammation. We're also going to have available for those who want to become involved in our next gut repair program to heal their body. We're going to actually have the glucose monitors that are sensors that go into your arm. We're going to have them at the booth for purchase, and you won't have to do a subscription or, go to your doctor and get them. You can actually get them at the show if they're interested. So we'll have a limited amount, but it's going to be great. I think people will get really excited about monitoring their health and just how valuable that data is. And it puts your mind at ease so that you know what you're doing is right for your body, because we're all so different. Or it may just, it may prompt you to be more stay on your program, because once you track your data and you see that just, stopping at Starbucks and having that pumpkin spice latte, what it actually is doing to the body,
Wow.
you will want to do it. And I promise you that.
Well, unfortunately, it might take something like that, but fortunately, you will have it at the summit so that we can all climb the summit together towards wellness. And I love the cracking the code and helping us with long-term wellness. So I hope that all of you, I know that you have a code. What is your code for people that want to join to get $24 off? Do you remember that?
I don't.
Okay. We will have the code for you pretty
Yeah.
soon. Okay.
Yeah.
But
You
you
get
can
the code.
do Lily 001 for now.
Yeah.
Lily 001. I think yours is 6. I think yours is Lily 006, but but I'm excited that you are going to be at the summit, and we're going to all learn and grow together. That's the whole point of it. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so now we're going to move forward and really look and dive into what our topic is today and how it all ties in to wanting to learn more at the summit. And so when you're going to be talking about cracking the code for fasting, glucose, and long-term wellness. And so let's talk about the body and what does the body look like, because today's class is about looking beyond the symptom. When we look beyond the symptom, or when we just look at the symptom and we go to a doctor, what happens there is the doctor prescribes something to remove the symptom or silence the symptom. But in naturopathic medicine versus allopathic, how do you look at symptoms differently?
So yeah, we don't address the symptom. We address what caused the symptom. And so the symptoms are your body's way of expressing to you that something is out of balance, something is not quite right. And so, typically in allopathic medicine, symptoms are annoying. We don't want our symptoms. So we go tell the symptom to the doctor writes you a prescription to cover up or mask that symptom. It's interesting because you'll learn when I speak that, many people coming into the ER, with heart attack had zero risk factors on their standard labs. They didn't have symptoms that they were sharing with their doctor, so they weren't getting treated, and their symptom was the cardiac arrest. That was the first symptom that they knew of, because they went yearly for their test, and doctor says everything's fine because they look at your test. Now the person may say to the doctor, well, I have a lot of fatigue, or and he'll say, you're just getting older, or makeup and excuse. But these
Yep.
are all early signs that we really should pay attention to everything that our body is telling us. It is not normal for you to wake up every day and to be chronically fatigued and your muscles to be heavy and you can't remember anything. You walk into the room and you think, well, why did I come in here? These are just common things that most people accept that it's just part of life, but it is your body's way of saying that things are not balanced, because you should have plenty of energy. You should not feel like your muscles are heavy, that you can't walk up a flight of stairs without
Mhm.
getting winded.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have headaches all the time. You shouldn't have, scaly patches on your skin. these are all signs that there's imbalances in the body for sure.
You know, it is so true. But we ignore some of these symptoms. Like you said, you go to the doctor and the doctor says, you're just getting older. Just embrace it. This is what happens when you get older. And that may be true for that doctor. That doctor may be experiencing signs and they believe that it's about getting older. So what they believe is what they're going to practice onto us. So we get to change our belief system, right? We get to change our belief system. And then we look at, okay, so when you're looking at fatigue, or you're looking at those patches, it tells you there's an imbalance. But what kind of imbalance? Can people look at themselves and say, okay, well, I'm not sleeping well at night, which, by the way, I'm not sleeping well at night, but I do have a summit coming up, and I do have, aging parents, and I do have other responsibilities. But can I just chalk it up to that, or can I look at that deeper into the root cause?
You need to look deeper because, yeah, we do have challenging lives, but when you consistently have that symptom of insomnia over and over again, you need to really see how are my adrenals doing? Because fatigue comes from adrenals being overwhelmed, and so what happens when we have stressful lives, a lot of stress in our lives, our adrenals will use up the vitamin Bs that we've reserved, for those days. And it just shows that you just have a chronic issue going on. And so you need to support that with more vitamin Bs. You need to up your game on your supplement intake, up your game on your diet. Sometimes it also helps to put the body in a state of autophagy so that it can repair itself. When you're under a lot of stress, Lily, your cortisol levels spike high, and that's one thing that causes damage to your adrenals. So it could be just high levels of cortisol. And if you're not sleeping at night, your cortisol is spiked typically. And so it should not be spiked at night. It should be the highest in the morning and the lowest at night. And so a lot of people have what I call just a flipped cortisol picture. And so they get really anxious and their heart rate goes up at night because they're spiking cortisol, and that will interfere with their sleep and their body's ability to repair itself. It's designed to repair itself while you're sleeping. So if you're not sleeping, you're not getting that repair. And just that chronic day-to-day activity is going to worsen and worsen and worsen. It also could be what we're going to talk about at the summit is, elevated glucose, because when your cortisol spikes, your glucose levels go up because your body's getting ready for the fight or flight. It's getting ready to run, and you don't need to be ready to run away in the middle of the night. And so it may just be a glucose issue as well due to your chronic, everything's connected. So, you have a symphony of chemical processes happening in the body with just stress, and acute stress is fine. Our body is, prepared for that. That's why we have all these mechanisms, these chemical releases, these hormone releases. But when it happens day after day after day, is when it becomes a chronic issue that leads to chronic disease and metabolic diseases. So
Well, that's so true. Once in a while having a sleepless night, once in a while, that's when we get
the
to dig
problems.
deep until there's, do some soul searching. Maybe there's some things bothering you. Maybe somebody needs to forgive or something to that effect. But when it happens all the time. Now, when it
Mhm.
happens all the time, okay, so let's look at that, because I had my adrenals checked out, but they tested my adrenals at 8 o'clock in the morning. Wouldn't you think they
Mhm.
would test my adrenals at night to see how it compares and contrasts? Is that the proper way of testing adrenals?
Mhm.
And when you go to an allopathic doctor versus a natural or holistic doctor, functional integrative, they look at those markers, those numbers differently. Just to just drive the point a little bit further, I had somebody contact me because they wanted my opinion or my research on vitamin D levels, and their
Mhm.
doctors said that their vitamin D levels were fine at 25. And we know that 30 is kind of, even with allopathic, 30 is kind of like that good. So, but I am like, no, you want to be between 75 and 85 or even 100. So what do you say
Right.
about that? Because I'm not a clinician and I don't,
Right.
yeah.
No, you're exactly right. There's optimal levels, and then there's levels that are just based upon the population. But the population, more than 70% of the population has 1 to 4 disease processes going on. So if you want to create a terrain in your body that is like the population, then you go by standard lab ranges. Um, you have to keep it, you have to remember that in mainstream medicine, they're treating the disease process, they're treating disease. So until you get to the level that the lab says that you have thyroid disease, or you have diabetes, or you have this, they're not going to treat you pre that diagnosis, okay? So they can't really treat you because of insurance and things like that until you're at that lab level. The difference between an allopathic doctor and a functional doctor like myself is that we watch when you start getting out of those optimal range, and optimal range is what means that your body is in no state of disease, no, chance of disease at that level. Okay. So when it starts to trend and move towards the process of diabetes or thyroiditis or whatever, we start to correct that path at that level. So we don't, in hopes that we don't let you get to that disease process. So that's the difference. And that's what people really need to be trained on. What should my levels be of all of my blood labs? But to your question specifically, you cannot, and this is the problem. This is the problem with the chronic disease. We have all of this technology, all these ways to test, and yet the disease levels are growing astronomically. Cancer is neck and neck with heart disease, 1 out of every 2 people right now. There's all these other type of metabolic diseases that we're seeing in younger and younger patients. So something is not right with the way that we are testing. And in your particular case, checking your adrenals, one lab adrenal does not tell you if your adrenal glands are functioning properly. And so there are better tests that are not just mainstream yet, but hopefully will be, where they're not just testing your blood. It doesn't really matter to functional doctors what your blood levels of these hormones are. It's what's in the tissue. And so that's why we switch. We do test blood, but we also test saliva. And so the combination of the two, but even random test of blood and saliva with one dose, one sample to test is not enough. You should test over a period of time to see from a day-to-day process, how is her hormones acting? Are they going up at night, and then, or are they flatlined all day long because she's reached chronic fatigue syndrome? And so you can't get that picture with just one, sample. You need multiple samples. And so that's what we're going to talk about too at the summit, is that, monitoring for, we're monitoring our clients' glucose levels for months. To see, the first month is really just kind of discovery month. We're discovering how their diet and their lifestyle is affecting them internally by their glucose number. The second month, you start really tweaking everything. And by the third month, you're at optimal levels. And so now you know exactly what you need to do in order to stay healthy and to have those optimal levels. And that's what we do with all of these functional labs.
Wow. Okay. So another, because I know that what people are thinking, I could almost hear it. Oh, that's fine for you to test all that because maybe you can afford it. But what about people, everyday people that may not be able to afford it? How do you help a person kind of self-guide or to reach a point where they're willing to maybe change their diet and see how that works for them.
Right. So, I mean, most people can afford to test their glucose. It's very inexpensive to do it. I mean, you don't have to do it with a sensor. You can, do it with a monitor at home. Those are $25. You may have to stick yourself 10 times that day to be able to, see what's going on. But, it is very affordable. Most of the labs that I'm talking about are standard labs
Right.
that your doctor can order for you. You may have to request it. And then you may want to take those labs once you get the results back and take them to a functional practitioner like myself so that they can help guide you and help you understand what the lab levels mean and what are you trending towards and what your optimal levels should be. Now I have a class that I teach on how to read labs too. So my goal is to just, teach the client or the patient as much as, what the doctor knows, or even in some cases more, because they have their specialty, but we're looking to be optimal.
Mhm.
We don't want to just be average. And they're a lot of times happy if you're just below average. You're just not, really healthy, because they just, I understand it because a lot of the problem is people aren't disciplined. They're not taking responsibility for their health. And so we've kind of created this environment by
Mhm.
wanting to go to our doctors and them give us a pill for our symptoms so that we don't have to deal with it, not truly realizing that covering up that one symptom is going to cause a cascade of other issues to happen, and it just compounds. You're taking one prescription for this and it's causing this and this, then you get another prescription, and then and by the time you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you are taking 20, 30 medications and feeling worse than you've ever felt. If you survive, that's the thing too. So
Yeah, well, that's great advice. Now, I remember in one of the classes that we did together, we were talking about the way a naturopath or the way you look at dis-ease, that
mhm.
it's not at the level. Let's say, for example, I'm having some thyroid level. You go above the thyroid. It's almost like trying to find the source that's feeding the symptom.
Mhm.
Does that ring a bell? Is that something that,
Yeah, I
okay, can
think we
you
were
share that?
talking.
I'm sure you can
Yeah,
elaborate a little bit more. Go ahead and share.
yeah, I think we were talking about, thyroid disease and, how most doctors are checking the TSH, and that's just not enough because the issue with the thyroid hormones is not the thyroid gland, that comes upstream. The pituitary is your master gland. And when the pituitary isn't functioning properly, which is in most cases, and is not even treated, then it's going to cause the imbalance in the thyroid and the parathyroid gland and all of the other adrenals. I mean, the pituitary is the master gland, and so a lot of people have issues with it, and they're not being checked, unless they've gone to an endocrinologist, and an endocrinologist then would do a more comprehensive panel. But how would they even know to do that? How would they know that they really should see an endocrinologist to get a full panel? Because the doctor just says you need, to take some kind of thyroid medication. And that again is not fixing, you can cover it up, but it does not prevent the disease process from progressing. You just, your labs look a little bit better, but the disease process is still progressing in the body. And that's why, I said earlier, there's I think it's 95 or 93% of the heart attack cases have clear, you know, standard cholesterol panels, because they're not looking at the particle size of the cholesterol. They're just looking at total cholesterol. Well, that's not a good indicator when that's the number one killer. you've got to come up with a different method. And so now it'll surprise you when I look at cholesterol panels. I'll order a cholesterol fractionated panel so I can look at all of the particle size of the cholesterol in their body to see if they're at risk. And a lot of the times their total cholesterol, HDL and LDL, are within standard lab ranges, but their particle size are dangerously high. And they're walking around not knowing that. And it should be a standard. They shouldn't. I mean, if you listen to Dr. Mark Hyman or, any of these doctors, they're going to say it should not even be allowed to only test the standard cholesterol panel. So I agree.
Yeah, totally. When you are talking about standard labs and the numbers, the measurement by which doctor says, oh, this is good, this is bad, they're just looking at the number. And you're saying
Mhm.
this is based out of the sick care. This is based out of the, when you are sick, these are the blood levels that are normal, right?
Right. Mhm.
Okay, so that's what I heard you say. Now, is there a place where we can discover what those optimal levels are? Has someone taken the time and say, okay, if your D3 levels or your D levels are at 90 or 80, you're at optimal health. Somebody at 100, ooh, that's too much optimal health, or you're going over and beyond, and now that's
Because there
gonna
is a danger, yeah, because there
okay.
is a
So
danger of too much, yeah. So, yeah, that's a great question, and we should have just a document, that shows you standardized labs, which would be like a CBC, that's a complete blood count, a CMP, that's a complete metabolic panel. Everybody should be checking their hemoglobin A1C. Vitamin D levels is something that unless you typically ask your doctor, he's not going to be checking. Those are all very critical. And then a comprehensive cholesterol panel with fractionations, to look at particle size and um, proteins and stuff. So, yeah, we don't have just a sheet, but like I said, and if take one of our classes or you work with a functional doctor, they will teach you what those optimal levels are. And I'm with you. I mean, with vitamin D, I shoot for 75 to 85 or 90 is optimal vitamin D levels. And the studies show that with cancer patients, it actually reduces their reoccurrence drastically. So if they can keep those levels up there, their chance of reoccurrence is really lowered. And so that's critical,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's very, very important to be checking your vitamin D levels and getting them to optimal levels.
Yeah. And when you think about these optimal levels, I mean, nobody's really saying, people are scaring you if oh, that's too high, that's too high. But what is too high? And so when you look at how, you're feeling, if you're dragging yourself around from place to place, and the chances are you are not at optimal level. And if we
Mm.
increase those levels, let's say, for example, when you talk about the pituitary, what are some of the ways that we can increase those levels of where the pituitary is imbalanced so that everything will fall into place? How do you manage the pituitary?
Yeah, so typically what's damaging these types of endocrine glands is environmental toxins and stressors. And so to truly fix or improve a glandular function, you got to get rid of what caused it to malfunction. And so you have to look at the client's heavy metal toxicity, environmental chemicals, things like that. Of course, brain trauma, injury can, always be a factor as well. So you look at all of those, and then it's kind of like looking at the body. If you look at a person's body, you will see there's splinters kind of stuck all in them. And those splinters are all the imbalances, all the things that just mess up the systems of the body. So it could be, mercury and aluminum, it could be chemicals, it could be stress, thoughts, emotions, things like that. And so as functional practitioners, what we do is we start pulling out the little splinters and removing them, one by one until the person's body is at the level that it can repair itself. So, there's only so much your immune system can handle before it starts to go wacky. And that's where you hear about a lot of autoimmune diseases. It's more than you created a terrain in your body of so much toxicity. It's more than what your immune system can process. And so that's when you really become symptomatic. And so if you're having symptoms, you know that the immune system may be functioning here, but your toxic burden is here. And our job is to get that below what the immune system doesn't mean that we totally wipe out all of everything. It takes, if you got lead in your bone, it can take 100 years to pull lead out of the bone. But we reduce your burden, your body's burdens, to where your immune system can handle it and you can thrive, not just survive, but thrive. And so that is critical. But most people don't know what their burdens are. They're like, well, how do I know? So there's testing that we do through blood, urine, saliva, and biofeedback that can determine what those burdens are in your body. And then once you have that knowledge, you can start, to remove those, and you'll get healthier and healthier and healthier. It is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, just the same as the accumulation of these toxins didn't happen overnight. And what's sad is that babies are being born in this day and age already so burdened with environmental toxins, and that's been studied and proven, over and over again. So, used to it wasn't like that. Now they're inundated with hundreds of known endocrine disruptors and known carcinogens. And so that accumulation happens really early in their life. And so I think that's one reason we're seeing more and more young people diagnosed with metabolic diseases, autoimmune diseases, things like that.
And what's happening is it's all the same, all the same root cause in a way. There, it needs to go beyond the diagnosis. And this is what I've discovered. And this is just my opinion and what I've seen in the years that I've coached, the years that I've done the classroom, is that, and the years of my life, because, I can go back now with what I know and see it in other people back then as well, me as well, which is when you go to the doctor and they give you a diagnosis and they say, oh, you have asthma, you have arthritis, you have diabetes, heart disease, lupus, whatever it is, it's almost like, okay, now I didn't do anything about it. Now that I have this diagnosis, there's a disempowerment that comes with the diagnosis that all of a sudden it's going to be up to the pill to get better, not up to me. Have you seen that in your life? And, how can you advise someone to get beyond the diagnosis? We're talking about, going beyond the symptom, but going beyond the diagnosis and saying, I can actually change my lifestyle here.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I have seen it over and over again. That's why we have a business, today, is people have went to the doctor, they've been diagnosed. Mainstream, medicine did not fix what they needed just by giving them the medication. So they seek out practitioners like myself and trying to figure out, okay, what caused this. So there is a huge issue with that. And that really that began at the beginning of the era of pharmaceutical drugs. And so we actually kind of, whether meant to or not, we kind of transitioned, healthcare into people thinking that they get these things because bad luck, or it's not anything
It's your
that's their
DNA. It's your
fault. Yeah,
DNA.
it's just
It's your DNA.
genetics.
You were doing the right things. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
We used the genetic, thing for a while, but then that's been proven uh, wrong. And so, 95% of the chronic disease or even acute disease out there, 95% of the disease process is lifestyle related. And so, doing the things that you've learned and the things that I have learned really make a huge impact. And then maybe 5% of the symptoms left or the issues left may be genetic that we can tweak, but you don't start there. You don't start with the 5% when 95%, is your
Wow.
lifestyle. So you really have to start with the lifestyle. And many, many times that's all a person needs is to start with the lifestyle, change the lifestyle, whether it's they're under a lot of stress on a day-to-day basis, they eat poorly. Typically, if you're under a lot of stress, you're going to see that they're going to eat poorly because they're just trying to comfort themselves. So there's that emotional component that Dr. Michelle
Mm.
Dawson talks about and recall healing, and Dr. Nelson talks about too the emotional component and the emotion code. And those are tools that I use here in my practice to help people understand that you've got to reprogram your brain the way that you think. We've got to take back responsibility of our health. It's not our doctor's fault that we have diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. Even if they miss it in the diagnosis, it's still not their fault that we have those. It's our fault because of the lifestyle that we live. So we have no one to blame but ourselves. And you don't want to sit in pity either, but you want to
Or shame,
accept
or shame, or
our
shame.
shame,
Yeah, it's
but
an awareness. It's an
it's
awareness, right?
it's an awareness, and you need to take back responsibility. So now that I know that this, was something that due to my lifestyle, then I can change it. To me, that's just the best news
So
ever.
empowering. It's
Yeah,
so empowering. I
exactly.
love how you say that
Yeah,
95% is, lifestyle choices, the things that are like maybe something that you were doing in the past cause metals and toxic metals to come into your bloodstream or your body, and now your body is trying to get rid of it and protect you from that. And so, but they call it autoimmune when your
right,
body is trying to be proactive and get rid of whatever toxicity is in your body. We
right.
say, oh, your body has turned against you. No, the body is
Yeah,
doing
which
what it
is
needs to do, right?
doing what it's designed to do. And so that's true. We always thought that autoimmune was your body's turning in on itself, and it's not. Your immune system is trying to pull out the heavy metals from the mercury amalgams that you have in your teeth that have seeped down and now got trapped into the thyroid. And then the immune system notices it and starts to pull it out, and that is what we call attacking the thyroid. But so you can actually help because it wouldn't have made sense that if you detox the person from the heavy metals, if it wasn't truly their immune system just attacking their body for no reason,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have gotten better, which we have seen. So you detox them of the metals, get rid of them, and the gland starts functioning like it's supposed to. So
Yeah.
that is not your body turning against you. Your body doesn't turn against you. Your body is always working for homeostasis and balance. And so, you just need to support it, and you need to stop putting in the body whatever is the toxin, and it's not just one, Lily, we know this. It's a multitude of different things that happen that makes the sea, the storm in our body that develops into chronic disease. And so you have to look at all of those components, the mental emotional component. You've got to look environmental, you've got to look at your dietary needs, all of this. Exercise is critical, and we're finding more and more research talking about how important exercise is more so sometimes than the nutrition that we get, which is, amazing to me because we've always taught it's all about the nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. But people have got to move their sedentary bodies. You got to get up. You got to exercise, and there's a whole hormonal chemical process that comes with that that is
Yeah.
absolutely needed too. So
Yeah, yeah. It's exciting to me to discover this. Unfortunately, we've been lied to. And if Dr. Seafried is with me, he'd say, no, no, it wasn't on purpose. He always says it's not on purpose. They just don't know better. Well, we should all know better. We all need
right.
to know better because the information is out there. Thomas Seyfried is so kind. He's just so kind and says, no, 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 this is just, it's the whole system that's broken. Maybe
Yeah.
we need to, but anyway, that's beside the point.
That's true. But we bought into, I mean, nobody forced you to drink the Kool-Aid either. So, we buy into that. We sometimes out of just not wanting to put in the effort, we allow ourselves to be deceived, so that's something that
That pill,
I've seen, yeah,
that
that's what
pill.
I've seen. Because it doesn't make sense. A lot of the things that we
No.
have said allopathically doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You go to the doctor and you're diagnosed with, cancer, and the doctor tells you that your diet has nothing to do with it. Eat whatever you want. And we all know better than that.
Yeah. And the
There's
oncology centers are full of cookies and sodas and so that they feel loved, and Tootsie Rolls, popsicles,
Mhm.
all those things. And cancer feeds, sugar feeds cancer. Cancer feeds on sugar.
Yep.
It thrives on sugar. So these are the things that we learn in the classroom. And these are the things we're going to be discussing at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit. And we got Dr. Jennifer Gramith. She's going to be one of our speakers. She'll probably be our first speaker after me. Well, actually, I'll be the MC, and after me, I put her first because we need to be waking up. We need to wake up to some of these truths, all of these truths that we're going to be learning at the I Am the Solution. Have you gotten your ticket yet? You need to get your ticket today. I want to encourage you to get your ticket today because, and I believe, and it is Lily006. Lily006 is the code to get $24 off. But you know what, Dr. Jen? We're going to do 2 free tickets for all your people. So if they text me at 407-373-5959, and you tell me and you enter, I want a ticket, Lily006. We're going to give 2 of Dr. Jen's followers free tickets to come to the event. Just make sure you're available on April 6th from the whole day. Just come for the whole camp out the day before. Come for the whole day because we're going to learn some new truths together that are going to set us free. It's going to be amazing. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com to learn more about the event. And while you're there, please subscribe to the website because this is where you get all the information. Every Sunday, you get everybody, all the teachers' information. You can click on them. Click on their name and it takes you straight to their website. You can go to, when you click on Dr. Jen's name, it's going to take you to Rightway Health and Wellness. And while you're there, you can go to shop rightwayhealth.com. You can call them at 404-474-2100. Support Dr. Jen, how she's supporting the classroom and the summit. She's going to be climbing the summit with all of us. So while you're also at whenyouneedafriend.com, like and follow me on all social media. Share this video with everybody. We've got to get off that hamster wheel of doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results and going, oh, why is this happening? Because we need to get off the hamster wheel and start thinking differently so that you will get different results because what you're doing now is not working. When you take that pill, as you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. I'm not against the pill. These pills sometimes are life-saving and they work for a short period of time. But taking for a long period of time, you will develop symptoms, other symptoms that you'll take another pill for and another pill, another pill. So what I'm saying is that 95% that Dr. Jen talked about, that's what I'm talking about. that if you do something different, you'll get different results. Let's explore together at the summit. Let's climb together the summit. You could also go to my Shop Now bag and look at some of the events that we've done in the past. Dr. Jen's gallbladder, I always tell you, I owe her my gallbladder. I will tell you that, because when I was told it needs to be taken out, stat. Oh, and by the way, so is your appendix going to go, because we're now taking, it's a 2-for-1 deal. Dr. Jen said, they said the same thing to me. We're going to do this cleanse together. And we did, and it worked. And so I still have my gallbladder 3 years later, and I'm thrilled to tell you that. And so, so check out the Shop Now bag, look at different things that we're doing, go to the workshop, just check it all out, play there, be curious, not critical. And last but not least, you can become a donor an enrolled student in the classroom, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, a one-time donation, whatever it is, every penny counts. We appreciate everything that you're doing, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasure. Once again, sharing this video is contributing to growing the classroom. So share generously, give generously, so that we can continue to grow in the classroom. I am grateful to Dr. Jennifer Gramith. She has partnered with the classroom for a while now, and I am just so thrilled that she does this. And all of us have benefited from it. So make sure you support her at rightwayhealthandwellness.com. You can go to any of her classes and share them. I know that you're going to be doing a class soon. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're going to start another Get Repair program April 20th. So that way the people at the summit can jump on to that class. And that's where you're really going to learn a lot more about your health and how to monitor yourself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, me too. Me too. Okay. So I want to go back to what you were talking about when it comes to that 95%.
Mhm.
That 95% of health and wellness that causes the breakdown of the body. When you are focusing on the patient, do you find that the patient wants to focus on the 5%? Is it difficult to focus on the 95%? What is your advice to someone today to switch their mindset, to go from that 5% symptom to that 95% lifestyle change that needs to happen? Mindset, spirit, mind, and body. What is your advice for them?
Right. So it is a lot of re-education, because they are stuck there. They think that they're a victim, that, it's just dumb luck, or it's their genetics, or, so teaching them and showing them the research that backs up, that no, it is your lifestyle, and you have total control over it. It's a difficult jump, but typically when they come to a practitioner like myself, they're ready, because they don't have a whole lot of hope. So we instill that hope back in. It's almost like, Lillian, in my business, because my specialty is oncology, the immune system. It's like I'm always trying to resurrect people. They've gotten so sick, so bad, that we're trying to bring them back up to life. And that's much more difficult than prevention. And so my heart is really leaning on educating people to not get to that point where you have to be resurrected. Let's know what we should be testing every year. Let's know what's going on in our bodies, so that we don't get to the point of any chronic disease, because they're all tied together, so cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all of the #1 killers in the US and worldwide, we have total control over that. It's all lifestyle related, and we need to, open up our eyes and ears and listen to truth, so that we are not a victim of it, a victim of our own lifestyle. So I think that, that's where my heart is. And that's why I'm really excited, because I'm kind of kicking this off at your summit. I want to spend the next few years really educating communities, publics, children. It is a shame to see 15-year-olds on a transplant list for a liver because they've lived their whole life drinking soda and eating fast food. I mean, that is crazy, but we're going to see more and more of those cases if we don't make some, drastic changes in the way that we view our life and our lifestyle and take back control of our health.
Mm.
I see more and more young people developing cancer, dying of heart attacks in their 20s and 30s. This is something I never witnessed before. I've been doing this, Lily, for 25 years, and I've seen it just, a little bit worse every year, but it's grown astronomically in the last 4 or 5 years that it really concerns me as a mom and as a grandmother.
Mm.
I don't want to see, my grandchildren developing these diseases early in their life. I mean, it's hard enough when you're older, and you're, 67 years old and you're diagnosed with a chronic disease. But when you're a teenager and you have your whole life ahead of you, guys, this isn't bad luck. This is our lifestyle, and moms and dads and grandparents out there, you've got to educate your family members, and you've got to be the example for them. And it's not perfection. It's progress. We just change a little bit about our lifestyle each week and in a short amount of time, because it's something you have to be consistent with. These fad diets and people jumping in, and doing things, but then going right back to the standard American diet is not healthy either. We've got to really change how we look at food and our stress levels, and it has to be consistent. We have to be consistent with it. So that's probably one of the biggest issues I find when people come here. They think, well, how long am I going to have to do this for? Will it be just a month or 2 months, 3 months until I can reverse it? And, we can see a reversal of diabetes symptoms in 1 week of a program. But you have to spend the rest of your life, improving on your diet and lifestyle. It's not a one and done type of thing. So,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, they have this diet mentality like a long time ago. How long do I need to diet to lose, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 30 pounds, and then when you get to that goal, guess what happens? You go back. When you have that mentality, you go back to the way you used to eat, and then you gain the weight and more, and now you have that diet mentality. It's really a mentality issue that we got to rewrite the programming. But here's the thing. People don't want to spend the rest of their lives doing something that tastes great. I mean, it's not like you're dragging your knuckles on the ground going, whoa, this is horrible. I've got to eat cardboard again. It's not like that. It's delicious food. It's really a wonderful, and you can have little vacations from that when you go away but when you do it once in a while, but when you do it every day, it's not the same thing. But here's the thing. We don't want to do that for the rest of our life, but we're willing to take a pill for the rest of our life. Oh, I'll have to be on that pill for the rest of my life. Why isn't that oh my God, I got to be on that pill for the rest of your life? Do you see the
well, there's a
disconnect that we have? Yeah.
There's definitely a disconnect in thinking that the medication's solving the problem. So they're thinking, I'm going to have the same lifespan if I take this medicine or change my diet, so that's not true. Your lifespan is still going to probably be about the same as it was, if you didn't take anything at all, versus, increasing your lifespan with diet and change. Because, people who are on statin drugs and blood pressure medications, they don't decrease their mortality at all, at all. And so they're still at risk for having that major cardiac event 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Their symptoms may look less, but the damage to the tissue is still happening and compounding day after day after day. Now, when you change your lifestyle, you're actually repairing the damage of the tissue and you're actually getting stronger day after day after day. So, therefore, you are expanding your life. And so that's what you've got to, really get across to people is, hey, take that medication. It's not preventing your mortality rates or decreasing your mortality rates. It's pretty much the so.
And you might be expanding your life, or you may be making it to 60, or you may be making it further down, but the quality of that life may not be the same than when you're changing your lifestyle and making some choices that are healthier. Still today people make fun of the way I eat, but that's okay. I'm seeing what's happening to my parents right now, and they are great teachers to me and motivators to want, and I don't care if I'm made fun of the way I eat, or people don't invite me to their home because they don't want to learn how to make a different kind of food, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm okay. I can make my own food, and you can invite me to your home and you don't have to feed me. I can still, it's a different way of life. I am motivated because my parents have sacrificed their life with the allopathic mentality. I don't know if that makes sense, Jen. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if that
makes sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me because I would agree, with you. And that's the hardest thing is to watch our loved ones. And I've
Oh,
seen it, in my family, more and more disease, so when it hits home is when you really start to pay attention. When your friends or your close family members are diagnosed with a chronic
yeah,
disease and pretty much given no hope, it does impact you, and hopefully it motivates
it
you,
does.
to make some changes.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be wonderful, if we just shifted our
Prevention.
mindset as a community, and we really got more into prevention, true prevention, which is lifestyle, um, instead of just trying to, be the victim or trying to treat everything with a pill. Even in supplement world, Lillian, I've seen, I've been doing this, like I said, so long. We as naturopaths have actually kind of done a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
We've really gotten so dependent upon supplementation, so we're just using supplements instead of drugs, which
Yeah.
way less side effects.
Yeah.
However, you're still not addressing the lifestyle issue if that's all you're doing is,
That's right.
recommending supplements. And so, the whole food is always better for you than the supplement. Supplement is, that's why I call it a supplement. It's to supplement,
Yeah.
not to, be
Yeah.
the main thing.
Mm.
So we really need to get back to, teaching the youth about
Absolutely.
nutrition and health.
Absolutely. I have loved our conversation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on April 6th. I hope that you will all join us climbing the summit. Once again, all of Dr. Jen's information is right behind me, and it is below in the description. So do your part. Call today to make a decision to shift the paradigm. Thank you so much, Dr. Jen, for everything that you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. And please
Thank you.
remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Jennifer Gramith wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional